Why does Blake fall in love with every bachelorette he meets? Hey guys, welcome to another shared news from home. Look, I know, kind of shady, but we're going to get into all the details on what's going on with Blake and why he seems to catch feelings for every bachelorette that he comes into contact with. But before we get into it, if you're new here, make sure you subscribe to our channel and ring the bell so you don't miss out on any bachelor updates. As always, I'm your host, Morgan Wright, joined today by Zachary Reality and Fiona Zaring. You guys, I just want to get a feel around the room real quick. Do we like Blake? Do we not like Blake? How are we feeling, Zach?
To be honest, Morgan, I'm kind of indifferent. I didn't love him on Tayshia's season, but I did not like him. And then on this season, I like him a little bit more because he is stirring up the pot a little bit. And you all know I love when someone stirs up the pot. But I also really like him for Katie. So that's kind of where I'm at with Blake. I love Katie and I like Blake for Katie because I think that she likes him. So I'm kind of indifferent to Blake as far as my personal relationship with him. But I like him for Katie.
See, I love that for word indifferent because I couldn't really put my finger on how I feel about Blake overall. I certainly didn't have him as one of my favorites on Tayshia's season, but I didn't dislike him. And I did feel like that group of men overall was so solid. There were so many great guys that he just didn't pop into the top ones I was rooting for, but I didn't hold it against him. And now, sort of same with you, Zachary, I actually really do like his connection with Katie. I see their chemistry. So I'm finding myself rooting for him, but still, he's not like an Ivan or a Michael A, someone who I just am absolutely in love with and totally rooting for. So I don't know. I think indifferent might be kind of the perfect word.
Okay, you guys, so let's start all the way from the very beginning, which was almost a year ago when we saw Blake start on Clare and Tayshia's season. So he started out with Clare, she stayed for what, 9 days. We all know that Clare was so tunnel vision on Dale that she just couldn't form a connection with anybody else. But Blake did admit when she left that he was starting to have feelings for her. So Clare is number one on our list of bachelorettes that Blake has confessed he had feelings for. Fiona, did you see it with Blake and Clare?
No. I mean, I didn't see them together and have that, oh my God, this is never going to work. This guy's got to go home immediately feeling. I will give him that. I don't think there were any interactions between him and Clare that were jarringly awful, no chemistry, they can't get along. But Clare was, like you said, so tunnel vision for Dale. And we already kind of all knew where that season was going at that point. So I just didn't see her have a spark with really anybody except Dale. So I don't know if I can hold that against Blake or not. Because as a viewer, I just was so kind of tapped out from day one. But I certainly didn't see any excessive spark between the two of them, no.
Blake was one of the very few guys that actually liked Clare. Yes, Clare was ready to leave the show and leave with Dale, but we need to remember a lot of these guys didn't even like Clare. They were happy when Tayshia came in. Blake was one of the 3 or 4 guys that was actually into Clare, or maybe he was just pretending to be into her so he can stay on the show a little bit longer. Definitely one of those two, if not both. But he definitely confessed his love to Clare, and they had some sort of connection. I actually think that Blake may have made the top 4 or 6 if Clare ended up seeing her season through and being the Bachelorette throughout the entire time. But obviously it wouldn't have worked out between them because we all know Miss Clare Crawley, Miss Claire Moss.
Yeah, I agree with you. I mean, even when he said that he had feelings for Clare, I'm like, how? You have seemingly spent no time with her. She is clearly not interested in anybody but Dale. And I kind of got the feeling that Blake was one of those people who just desperately wanted it to work or to find love, which is good, right? I mean, those are the kind of guys that you want on the show. You don't want guys who just want their 15 minutes of fame. You want guys who are actually going to fall in love. But when he keeps falling in love over and over and over again, that's when it starts to get a little dicey because, of course, he said the same thing about Tayshia. Now, he did get farther in Tayshia's season. I believe top 5, top 6. I know, Zach, you know the number, so you can tell
Top
us.
6.
Yeah. So did you guys see it with Tayshia and Blake? I mean, I can tell you I didn't, but the same sentiment. I feel like I could tell that Blake so badly wanted Tayshia to fall in love with him. And I don't even know if he was really in love with Tayshia. I don't know. Zach, tell me your thoughts.
You know, if you guys remember Tayshia's season and Claire's season, Tayshia, Blake had a lot of airtime in the beginning was when Claire was there. Once Claire left, Blake started getting no airtime. When he made it to the final six, he was kind of like a Brendan, and it was like, who is this? Like, why is he still here? We've never seen him form a connection with Tayshia. He was kind of like that random guy who ended up in the top six. So I don't even know how he thought that him and Tayshia were going to end up together unless there was something we didn't see. But it was kind of random that he made it so far. And I don't think that him and Tayshia had that strong of a connection. But he had the hots for Tayshia, which I cannot blame him because Tayshia is just beautiful, like in every single way. So I think we have to give him a pass on that one. Fiona, do you remember that date that he went on with Tayshia? Can you please tell us about that?
Oh my goodness. Yes. So I remember that date because it is one of the Bachelor dates of recent past that made me so uncomfortable. I hated that date. I did not see the chemistry. I thought it was awkward. But I feel like I do remember watching it and thinking he's so much more into this than she is. He really, like, I feel like he really wants us to go somewhere and she's going to send him home. Oh, I think she's going to send him home. So I don't know. I definitely think he was smitten with Tayshia. Like you said, Zachary, she's so freaking gorgeous and wonderful. It's not like that is hard to understand. I think Blake has a certain personality streak where I don't know if hopeless romantic is the way to say it, but you combine that with, I think he's a competitive person. So I think it's like these two qualities in him, right? Like Tayshia is gorgeous. She's on paper the perfect bachelorette, right? She's a wonderful human being. So when you look at all of that, you're charmed by her and you're the type of guy that's going to go all in and commit himself just based on a competitive nature. I kind of think that's why he thought he had these really, really strong feelings for Tayshia. And I don't necessarily think that that's a bad thing. I don't think it shows some sort of negative, like malicious side of him. But I do think that there were feelings that either he thought were there that weren't really, or he was hoping would get there eventually. And it's more based on like a competitive nature because there was nothing going on that date. I was like, yeah, he's going to go. This is not good.
Yeah, I mean, guns blazing, Blake. Like he's always just there and ready to fall in love because, you know, like I said, like we've all said, he admitted to having feelings both Claire and Tayshia. And then as soon as we see him pop up on Katie's season, it's the same thing, you know, he's just ready to go from 0 to 100. He's ready to hit the ground running. He said in the very first conversation that we as an audience saw, now who knows when they really first saw each other, how long Blake had to wait in quarantine. We don't know like all of those type of details, but he did say in the first interaction that we saw that he would leave this engaged with Katie. And to me,
Mhm.
Fiona, you did use the phrase hopeless romantic. That's what that says to me. It kind of also says like love bomber, you know, those people that just, they're all about you the first 2 months. And then afterwards they're like, wait a second, what's going on? So you guys, what is the deal with Blake? Do you think that he is a hopeless romantic, a love bomber? Do you think maybe he just wants to be on TV again? Or do you really believe deep down that he thinks he'll end up with Katie, Fiona?
This is the toughest question because I keep thinking I'm going to have this clarity moment with Blake, and I just don't know. I see every episode of Katie's season, I scroll through Twitter and I see people who are like, Blake is such a phony. He's there for the wrong reasons. How could she not see this? He's so opportunistic. And I'm like, oh my God, they're right. And then I see the next tweet and it's like, Blake and Katie's connection is one of the best I've seen in such a long time. Like, and I agree with that too. So it's so hard for me to nail him down. I think I guess if I had to like boil it down, my thoughts on Blake are, I do think he enjoys being on TV. I don't think he, you know, is anti having another 15 minutes. I genuinely think he thought there might be something between him and Katie. And I think he's someone who is competitive. So I think when you check all of those boxes at once, he's willing to be on TV. He's got a little bit of a hopeless romantic energy. He really wants to be in love, and he's going to do everything he's got to stick around and try to make the relationship work. I kind of come to, I don't know if it's necessarily hopeless romantic and that's why he succeeds. I think it's a little bit of everything. And at the end of the day, it's just got to be that those good qualities, the hopeless romantic in him outweighs the guy who is definitely not going to turn down another 15 minutes. If we can strike that right balance, then I've got nothing against Blake because I do think almost everyone on this show wants 15 minutes, right? I feel like trying to pretend like that's not a part of this is a little bit silly. So as long as he can kind of end up on footing where I think he's a better, romantic guy that actually has feelings than the 15 minutes guy, Blake will be okay in my book. I don't know. Does that make sense, Zachary?
See, I feel like if Blake wanted his 15 minutes, he would have just went to Bachelor in Paradise because he easily could have got an invite there. Lord knows they're inviting every single person that would ever been on The Bachelor in the past 3 years because they're trying to make this the most epic season ever. So I feel like he actually really felt he had a connection with Katie, and that is the reason why he decided to go on this season. I knew when I found out that Blake was going, I knew he was the person for Katie because I remember this group date on Tayshia's season where they had to make clay. And Blake made clay with the eggplant emoji. And when I found out that Katie was the sex positive bachelorette, I just knew they clicked and I knew this was it for them. And I really do think that Blake is going to see it through to the end here. No spoilers, but I just feel like they have this undeniable connection. And I think it's just a matter of circumstances with Claire and Tayshia being, the bachelorette on one season and then him just really having a thing for Katie. So I don't want to over exaggerate this, even though I totally think that, Blake is a little, fame hungry as we all are. But I think him and Katie will definitely see it through to the end. I think he really likes her.
So to your point, Zach, I want to ask you guys if you think that Blake maybe tries too hard. Now, follow me because we know he DM'd Claire and Katie before their seasons. He stole time with Claire, stole time with Tayshia, came in the middle of Katie's season, the boombox moment. He clearly knows how to play the game, right? So do you think that he's trying too hard or do you think that it's just his personality, Zach?
I mean, is it trying too hard or is it making an effort to show the girl that you actually like her? Honestly, I want somebody that makes an effort to let me know that he actually likes me and wants to be with me. So if Blake is going to make that extra effort to show whichever girl that he is pursuing that he's really into them, then more power to him. Forget about all these producers and forget about these rules. If you're in a relationship or you're dating someone, whether it's on The Bachelor or in real life, you want to spend time with them and you want to do these gestures. That's how you show affection and you show love. So I don't blame him for any of that.
Yeah, I mean, here's the thing. That's where I think his competitive side really comes into play. There's definitely thoughtfulness involved, but he is in it to win it, I think. And obviously, winning it just means having the strongest connection and really forming the strongest bond with the Bachelorette. So I think that there is a side of him that understands, maybe even more so than the other guys, especially on Katie's season, now that he's been through it a little bit more and he saw what happened with Dale and Claire. If you are the strongest guy for Katie and you can make that clear to her, your relationship with her is going to get the best shot. So I think there's some sort of strategy in place there where he's going to go above and beyond to really try to constantly remind her what they have. Because at the end of the day, people are fighting for time. It can all change in a matter of 20 minutes at a cocktail party, right? Some guy can sit down with her and poof, you're not the number one frontrunner anymore. So he knows how to play the game. And I don't necessarily think there's anything wrong with that. I just think that's where his competitive side kind of comes into play.
So I think we can all agree that out of Claire, Tayshia, and Katie, Blake with Katie definitely makes the most sense. We're all on board there. But I want to know, do you guys see Katie with anyone more than you see Katie with Blake? Maybe Greg, their connection is very strong. Andrew S. has a growing connection with Katie. Do you think Blake is the front runner, Zach, or do you think that he needs to be watching out for a Greg or an Andrew S.?
I mean, I think Greg is the obvious contender. Greg and Katie have had a love story blossoming on this show since episode 1. He got the first impression rose. He got a kiss. He's always gotten, the group date roses or the first one-on-one date. Him and Katie have such a strong connection. And I do believe it's going to come down to Blake or Greg. And I don't know who Katie is going to side with because she has very different connections with both of them. I feel like with Blake, it's a little bit more playful and sexual and lighthearted. And then with Greg, it just feels so deep, with their with their bond over their, past dad and like some of their activities that they love and just like the way that they fit so well together. So I think Greg is definitely giving a Blake a run for his money, and it's going to get down to the nitty-gritty. I don't know where Katie is going to choose. I don't know where her heart's going to lie, but it's going to be a really good ending. It's going to be the most dramatic ending probably ever.
Wow. I mean, I actually totally agree with you. I think if it's going to come down to anyone, it's going to be Greg for literally the exact same reasons. I think they have a really strong emotional bond. And I think that Blake is the guy that she is clearly like, those two are hot and heavy. I think maybe more than anybody else with her this season. So it's just going to come down to which of these connections, the physical one or the emotional one, means more. Or could Greg catch up, right? I mean, what Blake seems to have the edge on right now is the physical connection. Katie and Greg's connection could get there as well. And then he's going to have that emotional box checked and the physical box. So I do think that it's going to be tricky to determine which of the two is going to have the lead. They're kind of neck and neck. So I agree. I think it's going to come down to Greg and Blake.
You guys, it is good news. If Blake does end up with Katie, at least he won't have to fall for another Bachelorette. At least he'll stop at 3. He won't need to go on a 4th season, and we can move
Michelle
on from this.
season.
Yeah, who knows what's going to happen next. You guys, let us know what you think in the comments about Blake. There's a lot to unpack here, as Fiona mentioned before. Some people think that he's a little bit of an opportunist. Other people think that him and Katie are meant to be. So make sure you tell us your thoughts in the comments below. And before you go, if you're new here, make sure to subscribe and ring the bell so you don't miss out on any future Bachelor updates. Also, come say hi to us on our social media pages. Our handles are on the screen right now. Thank you guys for watching. We'll see you next time. Bye.
Bye.